magazine, but we're not here for me, we're here for our expert panelists who have extraordinary and different experiences on how to make money in new ways from their audiences. This is a session called Net Advertisement, which implies we're going to talk a little bit about new kind of ways of making money from advertising, whether it's native advertising, whether it's pre-roll advertising, whether it's using the data analytics from your audience. And we're going to start by introducing each of the panelists and to talk about the most interesting innovation that they have seen. Could be something they've been involved with or just something else they've seen, because I think the key at a time of rapid change, at a time when conventional publishers are having to rethink how they monetize content, audiences, who is winning? Who's got the ideas that are scalable? Annelies van den Belt has been in traditional media, in inky print newspapers, and now is working for a company business. DC Thompson is a big Scottish company, and among other things, they run a family history business. Annelies, tell us what you've learned in your transition and what you're seeing now that's exciting.
I don't have to work. Yeah, it's working. I was very surprised to be invited for this panel because for the first time in my life I run a website that does not derive revenues from advertisement. At the same time, I'm also on the board of a Dutch media company, so I'm still involved with the advertising space. And I would like to say I really like TV advertising, and I shouldn't say that in this audience, but I'd like to state it still because I think it's still the most influential TV, cinema advertising. And it should be a message for all of us out here to make sure that we're going to be much more disruptive towards the ad space online. I still haven't seen it. That's a very sad answer maybe, but I still think that the ad space online, even though people make lots of money with it, still not a space where I think we've seen the power of digital.
So your business model is subscription from upselling services to the family history community. Do you think that they would be averse to advertising on top, or have you made a conscious decision?
I took it all off 12 months ago.
Why?
Because I thought it was disruptive, and we've seen our numbers going up since then, and it was too small money. Funny enough, I think we can do other things which are advertising related and sort of selling them related services which are not CPM based. But there was lots of programmatic stuff, and you're not going to sell acai berries when somebody has a subscription on the genealogy side. So I took a conscious decision to take it off.
Similar decision that the WhatsApp founders took. They could have made some easy revenue. They had 500 million active monthly users, and they kept saying no ads, no games, no gimmicks, because they wanted to keep the journey of the user as friction-free as possible. So maybe there is a wider trend in a commodified advertising world.
I've said this many times on stage. I think the same rules still apply, whether it was in TV before the internet was there, or whether it's in newspapers. You've got to make sure that the journey is very relevant. And for example, we've just done an amazing partnership with the Times Plus program, and I was very critical.
This is the Times of London's membership service, and if you pay for your Times of London, you get extra benefits. You get discounts to tickets.
And they took a conscious decision to take away a lot of potential advertising revenue by taking away a lot of traffic from the site. I used to run Times Online, but that was before that. To start a membership club, and they now have 400,000 subscribers, which is a lot of people. They do deals with commercial partners. Their most successful commercial partnership was with Spotify. So every member of Times Plus got a Spotify membership for a year for free. And the second most popular one was Find My Past. And why? I'm not surprised, because Times readers like to listen to music and they like to find out where they're from. So I think the message is it's still got to be relevant or really entertaining. And that's why I started with TV advertising.
So when you build a close relationship with your community, they choose to join, you know who they are, they're with you every week of the year, you can upsell services in a more meaningful way.
Yeah, and then people are willing to pay for it. It's funny, we did a promotion. So we did promotion with the Times. People have to pay. We did promotion with the Daily Mail, and people got it for free. The retention rate of the Times is 85%. Retention rate of the Daily Mail is 15%. So people value stuff they pay for.
Another trend you may have noticed is mobile is going to be big. Something big is happening with mobile. Michael Bayle knows a lot about this. He ran Yahoo Mobile, he ran ESPN Mobile. He is about to take over as head of mobile for Amadeus, this humongous database of airline movements and prices. What's cool that you've seen, Michael, maybe involving mobile?
And it'll be simple to answer, and I think it's effective, which is the inauguration of advertising on Facebook. If you think about when Facebook went public, it was lauded by Wall Street and ultimately reprimanded because they had no mobile advertising strategy. With a little maneuveration internally, they changed that and suddenly had content as part of your feed that initially wasn't labeled and then ultimately was labeled as sponsored. And that content effectively was applications. And it was applications that Facebook and its best guess thought would be meaningful to you as a consumer. And all of us are probably Facebook members, and as we thumb through the content of our friends, first and foremost, of sponsored posts secondly, and then from Facebook thirdly, you see introductions and invitations to download content and download applications that are helpful to you. And that has shattered through any expectations of revenue from Wall Street, where now Facebook stock is 5 times more valuable. It's the largest, most digestible audience to reach very elegantly. I think there's a whole session on this afternoon from Facebook itself. But to me, as simple as that was a big, big change in the market.
There are challenges with what you can do with a mobile screen.
There are. I mean, the biggest challenge collectively in advertising is, are you building a brand play or a direct response play? Direct response plays are very, very convenient in mobile, but challenging for attribution. The cookie ecosystem is very difficult to replicate thoroughly in mobile. Android, you can do it. iOS, you cannot. And then the other big challenge is, how do you storytell? When you do a pre-roll, it's very easy. It's video, it's the same content you see on the web. But the biggest challenge allowed is, how do you emote? How do you make someone cry? Like, when's the last time your cell phone made you cry? Well, if you're in New York and on AT&T, almost every day. But for the most part, it's very difficult to see an advertisement in a banner format on a smaller canvas cause you to emote. And that's the biggest challenge I think that faces the mobile industry. I think the iPhone 6 Plus and obviously Samsung Galaxy Note and other devices that are larger canvases, that will be accomplished. But at the moment, there's not been one advertisement I could tell you that I remember on mobile.
So let me ask you about projects you personally have been involved with. Tell us about a single project, whether it was at Yahoo or ESPN, that really surprised you with what it achieved.
Yeah, so ESPN is obviously a large broadcaster, very well known in America, and people seek it for both sports, scores, content, and highlights. And one of the things that we had the privilege to do was broadcast most of the college football games. And obviously with mobile, there's a desire for immediacy. You want that content immediately. So we were able to come up with a tinkering of the algorithm that within 2 seconds of any major play, whether it's a score, touchdown, a big drive, an interception, etc., we had that highlight available in video format, and we tweeted it. And we had a large sponsor that wanted to be known for immediacy associate their brand with that content, and the results were staggering because people hadn't ever seen that before. Of course, in hindsight, it seemed so obvious. We had never, as a broadcaster, tweeted this content in real time within seconds, which if you've been in production, and certainly if you've been in television, isn't a trivial thing to accomplish. And it was very exciting for both our consumers, and then they were actually appreciative that a brand brought this content to them.
There's a wider trend happening about immediacy. Audiences, markets don't want to wait. It's partly, I guess, why eBay's building eBay Now, delivering within an hour. It's why Amazon's building a supermarket chain, Amazon Fresh, with same-day delivery. But it's also, I guess, why you're starting to get websites like Medium telling you how many minutes it's going to take reading each link, because they accept that time is the one thing we don't have enough of.
Well, I was even taking advantage of the free coupon for Get Taxi last night, and I'm a big Uber user, and it's even more immediate. It gives you the seconds countdown, not just the minutes. So I think you're right. I think with a mobile economy, everyone has ADD. Half of you are on your phone right now, but you're also listening or not. And having that opportunity to know how many seconds am I away from having to make a decision, or how many seconds am I away from having to board a train, is going to only be more empowering. To me, it's so frustrating going to New York City subways. Certain lines have the countdowns, other lines, forget about it. It's a spray and pray. Whereas in markets like Tokyo, you know intimately by the second when a train is coming or not. So I think that information economy with mobile is going to be exactly that. More and more immediate, more compulsory, because literally it's at your fingertips to make a transaction.
It's interesting that Uber knows that any second it causes you friction, it delays you, you may walk away. So they don't make you type in your credit card number now when you start an account. They allow you to photograph using your phone, and it will read the card number.
The best presentation I saw comparing the web economy to mobile was from 1-800-Flowers, and they reduced their sign-up form and their commerce form on the web by 80% for their mobile environment, for exactly that purpose, to eliminate any possible friction in that transaction.
Yavin Gillmore, you run Yad 2. Tell us about, explain Yad 2, but also segue professionally into some of the cool stuff you've been seeing.
So, if you don't know Yad 2 is the Hebrew word for hand and second hand, and we specialize in classified in real estate, cars, and second-hand products. It's a very straightforward matchmaking site between a buyer and a seller. It's disruption of the print moving to internet, and of course now moving to mobile. And it's a marketplace. If we would like to set some kind of an example of something exciting we've done lately, we launched an ability between people-to-people payment in installment, in credit card. So it's the ability for me and my friend to negotiate on a bicycle that he would like to sell me. So of course, as an Israeli, I would come to his house and I would see the bicycle, and of course I would negotiate. But once we agreed on the price, I can pay in credit card and installment, which is a big thing in Israel, and he would get the money to his bank account, not to his credit card, not to his PayPal account. So this is a new monetization product we launched a few months ago, and it's getting us closer to the customer, closer to the transaction, and I see it as an interesting step.
Did Yad 2 launch as mobile first, or did you have to migrate the business from a desktop?
It's a mobile-only product.
So you didn't have this, how do we reinvent how we reach people?
Yad 2, and I believe all internet colleagues of mine should be a mobile-first company. I talked about a lot with my friends when they're saying that they should move to mobile, and I say, guys, the customer already moved to the mobile. You might hurry up and catch him up, or somebody else will take the customer. So we are a mobile-first company, and everybody else should be the same.
And what difference are you seeing in performance according to the size of the screen? Are your customers using tablets in a different way? Are they spending more on the smartphone?
I think in Israel the penetration of tablet is smaller compared to the rest of the world. We are a very crazy company, crazy state. Everybody here has a smartphone. Every second grade kid has a smartphone. And we are a heavy user of smartphone. It's very personal. We do everything with our smartphone, even when we watch TV, even when we listen to a lecture, we still use our smartphone. So I don't see any difference. We come back to the site more often. I can say that today 40-50% of the traffic of Yad 2 is mobile, but I believe it will be 80%. Through the last activity of Tzuk Eitan, I think that most sites in Israel, especially the news site, had over 60% of traffic in mobile, and this is where we're going.